facility managers, they're up in these buildings. They're not just focused on the maintenance. They're managing their teams, their crews under them. They're going through a lot of stress, and they kind of need help in certain areas. I don't have a huge following, and that's not my intention with it. Sometimes a smaller audience is just as effective, because I'm not targeting the United States, I just got one little area here. So if I can create good foundational relationships with these people for years, then that's huge right there. That's all I need to grow. I don't need to be this huge leader in the space. And if that's what most people think, probably, is it like, oh, you got to be some big influencer. No, you don't. Not really, because where you're at is where you're targeting, and you don't need to have this huge following. Just be consistent and give value.
All right. Welcome to the Painting Business Pro podcast. I have a guest here out of Oregon, Robert Alcorta, the founder and CEO of Arrowhead Painting. Robert, thanks for hopping on, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Ben, for having me. And it's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation. So we're gonna dive deep into commercial painting on this, since that's primarily what you're doing. But first, just for the listeners who don't know you, give us your quick story, when you started and what you've done, since then. And so from when you started up until now.
Started my company in 2019, the founder, CEO, Arrowhead Painting. And I actually started in Washington, Vancouver, Portland, kind of close together. Started there. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I got the residential course from Eric, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I have this, but I'm going to try it. It was a little investment, and I got it. I started basically boots on the ground, started knocking doors, and I got my first job and produced it, and it was great. I was like, man, this is what I was born to do. Like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I loved it. And so 2019, and then I think a few years later, Eric came out with a commercial course, and that one definitely resonated with me a lot more than residential. I think just with my background, was a process operator, oil operator in Alaska. And so I had a lot of industrial experience, bigger projects. I was already managing contractors there. And so that really helped me, I think, with commercial, just safety, just knowing what, VPs of companies want, what they're looking for in projects, results. And so that really got me into the commercial. And I don't know, I've been doing that ever since, basically. I still do some residential on the side, but commercial is where I've been focusing on right now, last couple of years since I got the course. Yeah, so it's kind of just a brief overview of my company. Right now, like, our focus is Portland, Oregon area. Big market there. And I'm loving it. I love the course, what the course is helped me with. And, I'm logging on all the time and watching those videos. So yeah, really enjoy it.
Nice. So you bought the commercial course. That came out in 2021, I think? 2022, maybe?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, as soon as it came out, it dropped. I was on it. Like, it didn't take much for me to invest in it. And I got on a lot of live streams with Scott and Greg. Those guys are great. And, and since then, commercials really taken off for me. Just so much detail in the course that when I get a project or even show up for an estimate, I already know what I'm doing. I don't feel uncomfortable at all. It's given me a lot of confidence out there in the field, and also producing the jobs give me a lot of confidence.
So I guess big shout out to Eric, Scott, and Greg. I mean, that course is, obviously we were talking before the show. That course is way underpriced, I would say, for the value that it brings when you implement it. So were you, for those listening, how did you you said your past history definitely helped. I mean, how did you determine, you know what, I'm going to more focus commercial instead of residential? Why'd you decide that, or how'd you decide that for yourself?
Yeah, like I said, I think the experience was a big part, having the background a little bit definitely pushed me in that way. But then just the market itself, here, Portland, it's a port. There's a lot of industrial buildings and just a lot of commercial work here. And I think that's where able to get just more leads, generate a lot more leads with it. And so kind of just shifted focus toward that. Looking at also just consistent work. That's a big part, especially as being a contractor, painting contract, there's the swings, right? And so, I got one facility manager who has given me like 3 to 4 jobs a year consistently. And, I got one right now, like this will be the 5th job already this year. And I already have a proposal to him that's waiting to get the ceiling done in this warehouse building. And so it's like, hey, to me, that's going to keep my crews busier, more consistent work, and that's kind of what led me in that direction, I guess, more.
Well, for sure, because at a lot of our companies, we're still predominantly residential, but we're starting to do more commercial. And the nice thing with commercial is that it's recurring work, like you're talking to. It's a facility manager for, or property manager who can just, it's not just one job that gets painted every 7 or 8 years. They have multiple clients, multiple buildings they manage. And so, yeah, it can be even one a year is great. But like you're talking 5, 6, we have a property manager at Foothills that gives us 12, 15 jobs a year. It's super nice to have that consistency, now, do you do new construction or repaint or both?
Yeah. So part of the course is that, new construction, which Greg is a whiz on. So lean on him for that. I don't do that. I've bidded a few jobs. I have bid a few jobs on them, but my focus is repaints right now. Mostly like shopping centers, restaurants, done a lot of restaurants, and then facility managers. That's a big area that we're getting into right now, is the facility management side. Every building has a facility manager, and there's a work in some of those buildings. So that's kind of where the focus went with that. But yeah, mostly just repaints.
Well, and I think that'll be a lot easier, just for the members listening. Like repaint is, definitely easier as far as there's not as much technical knowledge needed versus new construction. There can be quite a bit. Is it like, for the listeners, is it pretty, like, if they want to get into commercial painting, what do they need to know? Like, does the course suffice, or is there more they should know outside of it? Just given your background, like, how much did that play into it, and where else might members want to go to learn more about commercial painting?
Yeah, I think you said it. Basically, it's just a lot more simpler. Especially if you already started in residential, you're already going to know how to produce a project pretty well. New construction, you can't visually see it. Where I know I repaint, I get to go there, I get to walk it down and see what's going on, take pictures and visually see that, So everything's in the course, like from start to finish, and I just did a call with Scott. He did a live stream. I think he said, it's funny, like he said that when we were doing a live stream, I think he said there was like 200 people in the commercial course, but only 2 of us showed up. And he's like, it's crazy, it's like, show up to live streams, you ask any question from someone who's a veteran in the commercial space. And that's what's helped me, like, get on those live streams with Scott and Greg. Greg's got a lot of knowledge as well. And they're going to help you. Those guys are great. And that's where I leaned a lot. I'm showing up to those live streams consistently, put into my schedule. I don't let nothing get in the way of that. Cause any question, because they could point out something that you could miss easily. And so that's been really beneficial. I think they've even reviewed projects on there. Like, someone bring a project, like, hey, let's look at this building. And then they show it on the screen, the pictures. And then, that's huge. You don't get that anywhere else. A lot of these people started the business just on their own, and they screw up all the time, and you don't have to worry about that. That's what's great. You got a lot of resources.
Oh man. I have a story. Scott Lawler, we still use Scott. I love Scott. He's a huge support for us with commercial jobs, especially large commercial jobs. We did a job, it ended up being about $750,000 over the course of 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was aluminum siding on this really big apartment, complex area. And the manufacturer had done a terrible job. I mean, it was peeling everywhere. And so they were going to have to replace all of it for something crazy like 5, $6 million, right? Um,
Dang.
and they were like, can you just come look at it and just see if there's any other options besides a $5 or $6 million bid? So I went out there, looked at it. I didn't think so at the time, but took a bunch of videos and pictures, hit up Scott. He's like, oh yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Yeah. Here, go do these tests. So, and like did some like crosshatch tests, right? Put some
Yeah.
really industrial grade primer on it and let it sit, over the course of 3 months, and it held. And it just, so, for them, $750,000 was a lot easier for us. It was the biggest job we've ever booked. For them, it was like,
But
cool.
for
You
them,
guys
they're
just
like,
saved us.
hey,
You guys just saved us like
yeah,
$4 or $5 million. So just to underline what you just said for everybody, it's like, yeah, use your resources. I mean, don't buy the course and then just put it aside. I mean, use those live streams, Scott's an open book. Greg's amazing, use that stuff, because you can really lose your butt too on a commercial jobs. And probably anyone who's done a commercial job knows that you really can lose your shirt fast. But
yeah,
Scott prevented that for us. I mean, he's done that for us probably couple handfuls of times,
nice.
where we just almost made the wrong call. And he's like, nope, you gotta use this product instead. Right.
There you
Or like,
go.
hey,
Yeah.
and then he's told us a lot of times too, like, you don't want to do that job either. So we've also, sidestepped some disasters too because of him. So we
Yeah,
love
he's
you if you're
very,
listening, Scott.
that's, yeah, that's good. That's what I like by him too. He just tells you straight up, yes or
He
no,
does.
so gotta be prepared
Yeah.
for that. But thick skin and commercial
Yeah.
painting a little bit. Yeah. And then, someone else I leaned on a lot too is my painting rep at Sherwin-Williams. He showed up and walked the job with me before. And then, he gets the product specs that I need for that. And he's even went as far as like creating a template and showing like, hey, you're going to use super paint, 2 coats, and then he'll attach that in his little document, and then you can send that with your bid. And that's been pretty huge too, and shows you a lot more professional rather than just putting on there, yeah, I'm just going to do 2 coats of something, some random product, actually being detailed and putting, some of those documents in there is huge.
Man, that's a good, that's, thanks for sharing that. I don't
Yeah.
think we do that much for commercial jobs. And yeah, I just imagine the credibility that adds to your bid when a big company like Sherwin like literally has their specs on it. That's huge. That's
Yep.
a big one.
And
Okay.
they got a lot of past history too. So more than likely when the building was built, Sherwin-Williams has a record of that, what products he used, what colors. And so he could search his records and find that pretty easy. That saved my ass a few times where it's like, oh crap, what are these colors? And, they just happen to be in their file. So that's huge too, to lean on the painting rep for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just one other story to underline everything you're saying as far as getting support from Sherwin and from Scott. Before we had Scott, this was back in like 2016, we bid a big Kohl's department store exterior, and it was a repaint. And we thought, like, we looked at it and didn't really look at the spec sheet much. I mean, we did, but we were like, oh yeah, okay, we know how to do this. And we're like halfway through painting it, and the GC flies in I think it was from Wisconsin, and he gets on site and he looks at me and kind of shakes his head, and I'm like, what? He's like, man, so there's a inlet of bricks. There was 2 like insets of bricks all the way around the building that were supposed to be a light, like a yellow color.
Oh, gotcha.
And we had sprayed over all of it with this dark brown. And he's like, you got to redo the whole thing, dude. It took us like, I think it was a full primer coat and 4 extra coats to cover that dark
Just to
brown.
cover it.
It took
Damn.
just to cover, man. We lost $37,000 on that job. Like I'm talking, we got paid X amount and then we paid out 37,000 more dollars than what we got paid by the GC
Holy
It
crap.
was terrible. Honestly, we should have just tried to walk away in hindsight. But now it's funny to talk about. But that was one of the most painful experiences that we'd ever had with commercial. So, I
Yeah.
mean, just sending the blueprint, sending the spec sheet right in the blueprints just to someone like Scott, say, "Hey, am I missing anything here?" could save you a lot of money and time and stress.
Yeah. Good verifications, good signatures. That's, commercial jobs are fun. You can make money, but like you said, you can also lose your ass pretty quick. So, I've lost clients from one mistake. They hire me to do, there was one project we were doing at a bakery, and I think it was like 20 different items we had to paint. And we had to do it over the weekend. He was having inspection the next Monday, and I missed one item. And it wasn't even like a huge item, and I was like, man, I didn't walk it all down. I walked part of it down, and I listened to my lead. He's like, yeah, we did everything. We're good. And I didn't verify it. Didn't put eyes on it. And, it's on me. And I lost that client because of that. Because he said, hey, listen, you said it was done. And you missed this one thing. Like, I had an inspection Monday. I showed up and this was gone. Like, what happened? And I was like, crap. Yeah, I didn't lose any money, on the project, but still, I gave him credit for that. But the long-term effects in the relationship, yeah, because that's one client I pissed off now. And now I got to, try and mend that relationship, or it's never going to happen again. So yeah, you got to be real careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
With commercial for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we did that same thing. We're working on rebuilding a bridge with one of our partners. We bid out, something like 400 garage doors, and we didn't, my sales rep, and it's not on him. We should have had more eyes on the bid, but we just way underbid it. It was just, we bid it at almost less than cost, and and so we made a lot of mistakes, but we had to go back and be like, hey, we can't actually do this job. Like, we just, we'd have to charge you more, and that's just not anything you ever want to. That just looks so bad. And, of course they were pretty upset and, said fine, but ended up hiring someone else to do it. And, I've kept in touch with them and told them on the next one, like, please give us one more shot. And, I'm confident they will, but yeah, right now we're missing out on jobs on that because we just didn't slow down enough and do it the right way. Didn't send it to Scott. Didn't just like, hey, let's make sure we're doing this right, and it's just so critical. Cause like you were saying earlier, these are clients that give you recurring work. This isn't a one-time thing. And so it's like, it's not about that one job. It's like, if this is a good relationship, you got to really take care of that and do well every single time,
take care of them. Yeah. And I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah.
Like, we have a bad reputation for that. And so that's, probably another reason why I got into commercial, and that's why I'm on LinkedIn, because I want to change that. Like, we don't need to be, and you did it the right way. I'm not saying that, you did that wrong. I'm just saying that I hear horror story after horror story of contractors treating a property manager, facility manager like crap, and they never want to deal with a contractor. And that's, shouldn't be that way, and it's like, it's hard for us because we can't get into that building because they're like, well, no, I've had bad experiences from national painting groups or whatever. And it's like, well, there's a lot of room for us to jump in and be different in the contracting world, and that's kind of what led me to LinkedIn probably, and a lot of the work that I'm doing on there to just show people, especially in these companies, like, hey, there are some good contractors out there like you know how you fixed it, and you came to them and you were talked to them about it, your story, like a lot of contractors don't do that. They're like, see you later, and it's like, they're just left with the mess.
If you're listening to the podcast, almost every single person that we talk to on this show is someone that we have worked with at Painting Business Pro. If you run a painting company or you're starting a painting company and you are really serious about building an amazing business while having a great lifestyle along the way, that is what we do best. When you work with us, You'll plug in to all of the systems, playbooks, training, and get coaching from me and my team. That's the training, systems, playbooks, and team that runs our currently $40 million portfolio of painting companies. It's the stuff that's working right now. We're actually doing this stuff day in and day out, and we love coaching people and helping people grow. So if you're interested in getting some help and working with us, head over to paintingbusinesspro.com and apply now, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Honestly, I don't think we did make the right call. I think in that scenario, we should have just eaten it. We should have just painted it, right? Because that was the bid we gave them. Yeah. And, it was like, we should have just, and I'm not, for everyone listening, I'm not saying if you mess up that bad, you should just lose your socks, because this is all pre-job. We hadn't even started the job yet. So you've got to take into account the relationship, the amount of money you're going to lose, all that. But I mean, just with the relationship I'm talking about, like we had already made a lot of good money on 4 or 5 previous jobs. We should have just, eaten that one, and just dealt with that because that was our mistake. And so because of how important that relationship was, so gotcha. Like I said, we'll get another chance because we told him we messed up. We're going to make it right on the next one. But, it's just avoid all that mess and use the resources in the course, use Scott. Use anybody, just get another pair of eyes on your bids, before you just send them off, to the GC or the facility manager, or whoever it may be, is my point. So, yeah. So let's switch into, you mentioned LinkedIn. So, and I've, this is actually why thanks for being a guest. I see your stuff on LinkedIn all the time, and there's not many, commercial painting companies doing what you're doing on LinkedIn. The guys out of, I forget where they're, Alpine Painting and Sandblasting, out of, I forget where. They're a really big company and they do a lot of specialty painting work. They do a good amount of videos, but besides them, like you're right up there with them. So why'd you decide to start making all the content and doing a bunch of LinkedIn content and posting?
Yeah, that's a good one. Definitely is unique. I feel definitely see that kind of the only one that's doing it. But I think what got me there was back to the course. Scott mentioned LinkedIn initially, like you should get on there. I mean, why would you not go hang out where all your buyers are? Everyone's on social media pretty much. And there's a lot of people that are wealthy people on there that own a lot of buildings. So I'm like, well, I want to learn my ICP. Where are they hanging out? I want to understand. I want to learn what they're doing, what they're hanging, what they like, what influential leaders are they following, where they work, how long they've been working there, what are their titles, and all that's on there. You can learn so much about these people, like the VP, vice presidents of the companies that make the decisions are on there. So like, that's where I want to be. I want to know when I show up to that estimate, do that job walk. If I'm asking them like, hey, how long you been working it? Or where do you, like, what do you do here? Like, to me, I've already failed because I should already have done the research prior and know that. And it's all on LinkedIn. Everything's there. Like it's a game changer. So that's why I'm on there. And I want to help facility property managers out, show them they're all legit contractors, help them with a lot of the painting knowledge that's kind of hidden that they don't know about, and just give away free stuff. Like, hey, just free content here's free. And then occasionally I'll put my call to action. They're like, hey, you can sign up for an estimate or something, but they know, like, if they need a painting contractor, I don't need to do that. They're going to find me. They're going to find you on there if you're on there regularly.
Yeah. Super good, man. I think in my experience, tell me if this is wrong, but it definitely, the lead time with commercial painting is longer, as far as you've got to be consistent with what you're doing, like with your content posting, with your, just consistency. It just takes longer. Residential job, someone calls you, you could feasibly book the job tomorrow, paint it the next day. You could have like a 3-day turnaround. With commercial, it's not even close to that, right? Like it takes time to build trust, and it takes time. But then if you're the one there when they do need a job done, and they like, oh yeah, that guy on LinkedIn, let me go check him out now because they do have a job. Now you're already positioned as like the leader in the space in Portland,
Yeah, like owning the space, and that's one touch point. Email, your touch point. So they're seeing you everywhere. And then maybe they don't remember, oh, I need a painter, and then they start looking through, files or whatever, or they just get on there real quick, and then it's just a reminder. That's all it really is. And then, gaining trust takes a while for people, especially if they've already been taken advantage of. It's gonna take time to pierce through that.
And So what's your philosophy on your LinkedIn? Like, what's your strategy with your LinkedIn post? Sounds like just free education is a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then free education about what painting is. I'm real basic in how I describe processes. I don't go into real high technical details, because honestly, it's just like, it's kind of boring. So I try and make it entertaining for people. I laugh, have fun. Like I'll just say words, like I'll mess up a sentence or something, and I'll just leave that in the video. I'm just like raw stuff, and people like that because then they're connecting with someone that's personal. And so that's really my strategy. Like I'm just a person, family-owned company that's local. I have fun, but I don't want that to affect my professional. Like I'm out there doing crazy fun stuff on the job, on your job or nothing, but I make it interesting, especially when I plug at other contractors that are just weak contractors that are doing it. They're just screwing them over. So I just make content against them because that's easy to call them out, and it's fun for everybody. And then they see that, and they like that. They watch your content, and then that's how someone's going to get a lot of your trust, is when they see you they watch your video over and over again. You have those funnels set up to where each topic is just this reoccurring video, and they binge watch you. And then that's what happens. So it does take a while to gain their trust, but sometimes, just maybe they need you right now, and they'll call you up, and you can get on that job tomorrow because they need it done now, for whatever reason. So I've had that happen too.
Nice. Okay. And that's what's working for us too, just on the residential side is, we've switched from, like you said, we're not doing a lot of call to action, like, paint now or like sign, I mean, we do have calls to action, but it's what's working for us is giving homeowners or property managers just advice, like here's just some free, if you're a homeowner, here's some free advice. Here's what you want to know. Like just, and Alex Hormozy, I don't know, do you follow him at all? The acquisition.com guy?
Yeah. I've watched Alex Hormozy. Gary Vee is a good one on content creation as well. How much you should be posting. But I watched a lot of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Hormozy, we're definitely big proponents of him, and we've done a lot of his workshops and learned a lot from him. And that's they give away so much free stuff. I mean, it's insane how much he gives away for free, and it works though. I mean, in this day and age when there's so many X company, let's say painting companies for us, but like there's just so many options for people to choose from. Like the ones that are just doing it the right way, like just giving away free stuff. And then I think he says something like for every 7 content pieces, like every 7 giveaways, you can do 1 call to action, and maybe even be like 10 to 1, So he's not sitting there just work with us. It's like, here's a bunch of free stuff. And then once in a while, it's like, oh yeah, if you want to talk and like be a part of the acquisition, be a company with us, like check us out. But it's subtle and it's small, and he gets the eyeballs first, then does a little bit of marketing,
Yeah.
And it's
good.
It's working for us.
Gary Vee kind of does the same thing where I was like jab, right hook or something, but it's the same concept where, a lot of my videos, I just give away a checklist about what to look for in a building inspection, because facility managers, they're up in these buildings. They're not just focused on the maintenance. They're managing their teams, their crews under them. They're going through a lot of stress, and they kind of need help in certain areas. they need someone just to kind of take over the project, and they know they can trust them. And so those checklists are huge that I put, I post a video and then I'll put that under my video in the comments section. People just say, here's something free. Just download it, screenshot it as you're walking around doing, walk around having a smoke break, whatever. Like check your building out, because it does fall by the wayside, and you get wrapped up with, they get wrapped up with team meetings, or, this is going on in the organization, and then those things get lost. And then before they know it, their budget's just blown out of proportion because this area got neglected. And now, we got to replace some of this ton groom siding because it's so badly dry rotted. Like as soon as I pressure wash, like it's just going to fall apart, so now, this, project that would have cost 10 grand maybe to stain. Now, it's costing 60, 70 grand to redo it, and so it's like, you just want to help them, and especially with their budgets, because it's pretty tight for them, especially now with what's going on. So when I see that and I see that they need help, that's what I want to be, their go-to person, and know that I could just take over when they hire me for a project. They know that, hey, this is going to get done the right way, and this guy knows what he's talking about, and what better way to do that than just educate people? Because now that you're educating with this knowledge that you've learned from the course or whatever, or from your background, now you're even stronger, and they see that, like, hey, this guy's talking to me, that's what you need.
I know, that's what they want. I mean, facility managers and property managers are some of the busiest, most underappreciated people, I think, in our space, and they're dealing with a handful of contractors at any given time. It's not like just paint, they got painting, but then they got to redo the foundation, or they got the parking lot. They got to figure, like, they have so many projects where it's like, if you can just be kind of like, okay, I don't have to even worry about that. Like that thing's handled. Like that's what they want. They just want they just, like you just saying, like they just want it handled so they can deal with all the other guys who they have to handle because they're not doing it right. They'll come back to you again and again if that's how you are,
Exactly. Yeah.
One other thing I want to ask you, before the show, you're telling me you've had some success with cold email marketing. Is that right?
Yeah, cold email. So, LinkedIn is just one area. That's one touch point. They're getting on LinkedIn, facility managers, property, even the vice presidents of the company, they're getting on LinkedIn during work hours. But, you should be connecting with them. But it doesn't stop there. You should also be getting into their inbox. And I know it seems like an outdated technology, and maybe that's why it kind of works. But a lot of the facility property managers, they're not, most of them, I would say the age group, it's 43 and then till when they're retiring, 60, 65. So they're still using email. And a lot of times that's the only way they are communicating within the organization is through email. So that's a chance to get right there. They open their email in the morning and yours is there. And you connect with them on LinkedIn. Most of the profiles, if you look at them, will have their email address in them, and you can get that information and send them an email. It's that simple. And you don't have to bring up LinkedIn. Like when I cold email them, I don't even bring up LinkedIn. Hey, I tried to connect with you there. It's a totally separate thing. And you're just trying to just send those reminders. Just think of it that way. They're probably not going to call you right when they see that first email. That's okay. Check your open rates, and then when they need contractor, they're going to go to their file or their folder that they have you saved in, and you're going to be there. And that's been pretty. It's been pretty good for us when it comes to that. Not too much into cold calling. What's that?
Sorry, I was going to ask you, do you have like a process or like a system with your cold emails, or is it just every time you connect on LinkedIn, you're just going to individually, you send one single email to that individual?
Yeah. Yep. So I won't email them just out of the blue. So yeah, there's a project, or sorry, the strategy, I guess you can call it, of, if I connect with them on LinkedIn, there's events that take place, but outside of that, I'll send a connection request, and then I right away cold email them. And either way, they're going to see me that day. And then if they connect with me, now here's where it gets cool. This is what I love about LinkedIn. So little tip here for anyone that wanted to get on and get better at LinkedIn is we need to get better at videos. So that's why I post a lot of videos, because I'm trying to get better at videos on LinkedIn. But there's a feature on LinkedIn where you can send a video. And so I've been really using that, and man, it's been huge. Like, people love that. So you send a connection request, they connect with you whenever. Typically 3 or 4 days they connect with you, sometimes the same day. You need to send them a video right away and connect with them on a personal level. And that's why you can get on their LinkedIn, you see the profile, you can see who they're connected with, you can see how long they've been working, what is important to them, because they write out, their about page, how long they've been working there, all that stuff you can combine into a short little video. And so that's what I do. And then they're like, hey, I also got an email from you. Like, this guy's everywhere, and it's like, it's great. It's been effective, and the emails aren't even going into detail with emails. It's just like, hey, we provide commercial interior painting here in the Portland, Oregon area. We service about 20-mile radius, and this is the type of stuff we do. And we just kind of list it real quick, brief, done. And that's through a dedicated domain. And then that's at the beginning of the month. They don't connect with me. Then I'll send them another one at the end of the month that's just real short and brief. Like, hey, did you get my email? Just checking to see if you had any projects coming up. Let me know if anything comes up. Just real short, brief. That's all you need to be. And then you got to tweak the subject line a little bit. That's based on open rates, but I don't want to go. You don't need to go too far into that. I don't know how far you want to go into all that, but I think just getting back to LinkedIn would be just the videos has been real huge for us, and getting responses back from people. I've gotten more responses back from people on the videos than I did emails so far.
Okay. So you connect, you send an email right away after you send the connection request. Then that same day or day after, you send an introduction video on LinkedIn, just introducing yourself.
So I'll send the connection request. I'll send an email. The email does not say anything that I tried to connect with you on LinkedIn. If I don't have their email, which Link doesn't provide, there's, you can get systems for that. People might be familiar with like Apollo. You could do that, but that's, so you can get on there and you can find information about a lot of people, and then you get their email, and then you can cold email them. If they connect with me, then I'll send them a sales video. I don't send them a sales video unless they connect, because I can't send them a video until I connect with them.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Nice. I like that.
LinkedIn only lets you, only lets you send videos to people that you're connected with. Yeah.
In that video, you're introducing yourself. Sorry, in that video, you're introducing yourself, and there is a call to action in that first video?
Yes, there's a call to action. And it's real brief. I would say, it's just basically hey, so-and-so. Hey, Mike. The reason for this video is, I noticed you've been at, Chick-fil-A. I noticed you're facility manager over for Chick-fil-A. You've been there for about a year. And typically I see that new facility managers have been there for a year, typically want to start doing some upgrades within that first year and start making some changes. So where I help facility managers is, we come in, especially like working evenings when the restaurant's down, just so, disruption doesn't happen. And really just want to be here as a good vendor and provide a great client experience. Would you be interested in learning more about this? And that's it. That's it.
Nice.
Real quick, brief to the point. That's one area. I mean, you could talk about a number of different things. One of the things about LinkedIn is once you can get over to Sales Navigator, which is a separate part of LinkedIn, but still connected. And they show a lot about the company, like if recent hires are happening or recent changes, especially within the executives. There's a lot of changes in the executives. That's something to watch out for as well, because when new executives come in, they want to make change.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I don't know if
This
I
is
got too
awesome.
far
I
in
do want to
detail
go.
there. Sorry. I'm
No,
geeking out. I
I
geek
was
out
actually
big
just,
time with LinkedIn.
yeah. No, we're going to have to do a follow up because I want to, for sake of time, we can't get any deeper, but I want to go deeper. I want to hear all that.
Yeah.
Because that's a great, I mean, there's just no one else doing, I mean, I shouldn't say there's no one else, but I know a lot of painting companies and there's not anyone else that I know doing that. So I think that's huge, man. And you just started doing that how long ago?
Yeah. So I've been on LinkedIn since I got the course. So it's been a couple of years. I was kind of off and on with content. I didn't really understand much about what LinkedIn's wanting. Recently, they did an upgrade where they are more integrating with the short form videos like TikTok and Instagram. And so that's when I was like, dang, they're starting to move. And there's a lot of people on that platform. So I jumped in on January pretty heavily, and I've been posting pretty consistently. And yeah, I definitely, like, it's hard for me. I'll search for other like painters and stuff, just see kind of what content's going on, so I can kind of not steal from them, but just see what's kind of working. Like, man, there's really no one to look up to in here. Like, it's kind of hard sometimes, you know? So, but that's when I started pretty heavily, and I don't have a huge following, and that's not my intention with it. Sometimes the smaller audience is just as effective, you know, because I'm not targeting the United States, you know, I've just got one little area here. So if I can create good foundation relationships with these people for years, then that's huge right there. That's all I need to grow. I don't need to be this huge leader in the space. And if that's what most people think, probably, is it like, oh, you got to be some big influencer. No, you don't. Not really, because where you're at is where you're targeting, and you don't need to have this huge following. Just be consistent and give value.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, this is awesome. Okay. Yeah. We're going to have to do a follow-up. I'm going to actually call you after this podcast as well. I got more questions, but,
Yeah, no, it's all good.
but yeah, man. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for being on. I think for everyone listening, I mean, tons of knowledge that Robert just spit at us in the last 45 minutes. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think the key is like, you've just got to implement, right? I think for everyone listening, it's like the implementation is what's key. And then you just got to not look at results for a year, you know, like keep implementing content, reaching out. Yeah. That's what Scott Lawler always taught me. It's like, you can't, with B2B, with commercial, you got to give it a year. It's not instant like residential is, you know?
So the results that you're doing now, you won't see till next year for sure.
Yeah. Yep. You got to have that patience, which is hard for us entrepreneurs.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, just time management. Yeah. You gotta get on, focus on your time management, you know, and dedicate a certain block to that every day. That's pretty big. I know that's in the course too. You guys focus on that. I know you're probably a big proponent of that in your company. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty huge, you know, doing the same thing every day.
Yeah. Time management is maybe the one thing I'm the most dogmatic about.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, man, that's a dogmatic's funny word, but yeah, it just matters. Like we have so many options of things we can do. And if you're not intentional with your time, then what you're going to do is admin and email and all the other crap that gets put on your plate. And most of it's not stuff that grows your business very fast. So you've got to be intentional with your time management. It's so critical. So
yeah. Have you ever read the book?
That's a good way to wrap up.
Have you ever read the book Organize Tomorrow Today? That's a pretty good one. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. So it talks about just
tomorrow today.
You basically planning tomorrow today. So you're looking at your schedule the day before, and you're planning what you're doing tomorrow, and you're writing it down, and it just like sinks into your head overnight, and you just get up and you're ready to go at it. And that's been pretty helpful to me. Because
Nice.
it's like creating content's it takes a lot of time. You're writing the posts. So what do you write about? Obviously you can have AI help you a little bit, but you still got to, make sure what you're saying is truthful and honest and it's delivering value, and then on top of that, you're trying to run a painting company. So it's like, man, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think the only way to be successful is have control of your time.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, big time, man. Well, hey, dude, thanks so much for being on. I really appreciate your time. And we will have to
Absolutely.
do this again and get in the weeds even deeper. So
yeah, let's do it, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's been great, and it actually went pretty quick. So that's cool. That's good.
I know. I'm like, geez, that went way fast. Yeah, it went really fast. I should have scheduled more time. All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying the show, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review for the podcast and what you gotten out of it. It helps our show reach more people and inspire more people. Thank you so much.